I want to talk with you about the decks in the top eight. We had a very diverse meta in the top eight. I was very happy about that, um, and we had some really cool decks, except mine. Mine was boring, but the other were very cool. Um, and I want to talk about a little bit about every deck in the top eight. So we start with the top eight, and then we go on the top four decks, and then we go at the last deck will be mine. So this was the what was my opponent in top eight, which I was able to defeat. Um, I think this is a very basic Sapphire Steel list. Some thoughts about Sapphire Steel from me. I don't have very much experience with this deck, but I really think what I really know as an opponent is that you really need those. I think you really need those four times. Nothing to hide. There's nothing to go around it, and um, he did know that, and he played four. So this is it's a very important card, especially obviously after a wheel. You need this card to look at your opponent's hand and see if there's a be prepared or something. This card is very important, and also it's thinning out your deck, and it's a one cost card, and it's also inkable. There's no issue. There's no issue in including this card four times in your deck. It's not no dead card or something. I see no issue in adding this four times, and I really think this is very important. And it's thinning out your deck, what means you reach your wheel better, because the wheel is very important in this deck. Very important. Ah, it's very important. It's not unwinnable without it, but it's very important. Um, you have Hiram as very good card draw as well, and Beasts, of course. But in its basic form, you want to wheel. And I think with this list, he had a decent matchup against everything. This is a well-rounded list. I think the Beast stands out a little bit, but I think I think it's fine. Some people would say you should play Benja instead of Beast, but he can sing your songs, your 12 5 cost songs, and yeah, it's a decent item removal. If I see the list and I think what I would change in this list, but I'm not sure about it because I have no experience with this deck. I really think um, the Erics I would play more Cruellas instead. Jafar is the same card as Cruella, so six Cruella Jafar cards. Especially if the new Green Fuzzer deck comes up and uh, goes in the meta, then have to do it. But this is a little bit more well-rounded. But in the meta, like it was in the tournament, it really would be better if you have six Quellas. This card is really strong in the early game. Um, and minis were everywhere. And also it can quest. That cannot be underestimated. This card can quest. Eric can't quest most of the time. Weller can always quest because the opponent can only trade with it. It's mostly a one for one. But Eric dies to very very much cards, and it's not a one for one. So Eric, most of the time you can't quest, and with this card you can always quest if the opponent has no card for trading. And it makes a difference in a mirror match or something. That makes a difference. If you saw my stream, then you recognize that it's sometimes it really depends. One lore can really decide the game, the end game, and yeah. But that's only my thoughts, and I have no experience with this deck. Of course, you think when you see that you should add a fourth spell, but this is a well-rounded list. I like it, and he was a really good player. And I was able to race against him very well in the early game, so I got to 10 or 15 lore both games before he get his first wheel, and that's really crucial because in turn 3 I think both game I dropped an Arthur turn 3, and then he had to smash him, so he could not play Fishbone Quill on turn 3. But I think he did, but it's punishing if he doesn't smash it. Then Arthur comes one time 3, and then I can LeFou him, and there are no really good answers for Arthur except Smash. And Smash is expensive. Most of the time you want to cheat out your removal cards. Yeah. So that was the first deck in top 8. The second deck was this. I lost to this in the Swiss round, and I think she made 8-1 in the Swiss round. What is really impressive, and this deck is really impressive. It really crushed me. It really crushed me. I had a little bit of. I was unlucky in drawing cards. What I need, but nevertheless, this deck is really crushing you if you can't develop a board in the early game. It really crushes you if you miss one on and turn 2, then deck is really crushing you very fast. And Tiana is very terrifying. Tiana is really whoa. You must be very careful about this card. And Piglet is also OP. Piglet? I don't think if I see the list again, I don't want to criticize, make critics on these decks because obviously they were all very good. Otherwise, they would not reach top 8. But if I look at this list, I don't know why there's Benchers in it. Because which item you want to remove? Which item is scary for you? Maybe Fishbone. But two Benjars are not bad to have in the deck. But if I would see the list, I would cut down the Benjars and Beast. I would like to see more because of Doc, and then Beast. It's very strong. Because I don't know. You want to turn 3. You want a Doc, and turn 4 he quests, and then you simply want to drop a 5-drop. Huh? 5-drop is your goal then, and you have only the Moanas and the Beast. But as I said, it's a very good deck. It's crushed me, so I can't say anything about it. And it punishes really hard if you are not packed into an early game. It's like Amber Amethyst or something. Really crushes decks, and it's much better against steel decks than Amber Amethyst. Much better, and that is the thing I like about this deck. This deck has no real auto-lose matchups like the Amber Amethyst deck. The Amber Amethyst against Steel Song, you simply can't win. Simply can't win. I think if you play 10 games, you lose 9 of them. And this deck is much better. Just Tiana and Prince, all resist cards, are very good against steel. Obviously, they have problems to deal with them. So I like this deck a lot, and it crushed me really hard. She won 2-0 against me, and it I think this was 15 minutes or something. She really crushed me. So, but she lost against I think the winner of the tournament. I was not sure, but I think it was, yes, she lost against Francis. Yes. So the next deck is a Steel Song, a Flute Song. Is this Seth, who was top 4? I will talk later. But if you compare this deck to Seth's list, then you see very much difference in that both lists, because Seth is only playing 4 1-drops, and this deck is playing 12. So Seth says, the first turn does not matter for me. I have good matchups against Aggro, and why I need to play that much 1-drops. And this deck, Seth, the whole Stitch package is not in Seth's list, I think. The whole Queen package is not in Seth's list. And this deck says is much more aggressive than Seth's list. And you can consider which is better. I don't know. I really like the flute version. I think Flute Song is the best Steel Song right now, by a large margin. I really Flute Song is the best Steel Song right now. I'm very confident when I say that, because Ruby Amethyst is way better, because Ruby Amethyst has no item destruction, and you can chill, and in the end game you slowly burn out the opponent. And in the normal Steel Song list, where the normal Steel Song list, Be Prepared kills them, and this deck, Be Prepared, does not kill this deck. It hurts, but you have your flutes, and then you can burn out your opponent. So I really think Flute Song is way better. It's also better against this card or something else, or against Sapphire Steel, which is a very good matchup against this, very good deck against this. And Flute Song is by far the best Steel Song deck now. And then you can some play Cinderella. Seth played the Hercules package. I think, in my personal opinion, I like the Hercules package more, because it really depends, especially in your tough matchups. It really depends that you can shift 1 turn earlier. And in Seth's list, but I will talk about that later. So this is a really standard Flute Song list, and congrats to this player who made it to top 8 in this tight this 280 player tournament. And the last top 8 was I think this was the last top. Yes, this was the last top 8. So this is I like this deck. This is Ruby Amethyst in its basic form, but with the conclusion of 3 Peter Pan Shadow as a tech against Minnie Mouse, basically. And I tried it myself, Peter Pan, for a long time, and I really like that card. It really hurts sometimes that it's uninkable, so I decided to go with the crabs. But you can go either way. Sometimes this is better, sometimes this. It's hard to say. Um, yeah, I'm wondering only 3 rabbits. That's really surprising for me because I thought this card is the best card in the deck. But yeah, sometimes the victory speaks for him. So he made thoughts about that. Yeah, the rest is really basic, but it's good. Ursula is better than Elsa, I think, in Ruby Amethyst. I really like Ursula over Elsa in Ruby Amethyst. Ursula is better in Ruby Amethyst, and Elsa is better in Amethyst Seal, I think, because singing "Be Prepared" with Ursula is often match winning. Yeah. Yeah, and this is a good list, and congrats to him. I thought I forgot to say congrats to this guy. I think so. Congrats to. I think he's the owner of a very popular um, TCG site or something. I heard something about that. He's TPG. I don't know what this is, but I think he's a very important person of that community and also a very good player because he came top 8. So very impressive. Okay, top 4. I will make my deck at last because yeah. So I go to Seth's list, and which I really like. Guys, if you want to play Steel Song and to play Flute Song and want just to start with a very good list, then make this. This is so well rounded, and Seth is one of the craziest guys. He's so good. He's the brain in this community. Absolutely the brain. He made so much decks that came like a week later after his video on YouTube. They came into the meta just because of him. The popsicle deck, the first version of Ruby Amethyst. I don't know, and Flute Song I think as well. I don't know, but he's very good player. I played against him in the Swiss round. I think round 7 or something, and I lost. It was very close, but I lost. Yeah, my version of Ruby Amethyst struggles against Flute Song a bit. So yes, it was a really impressive and nice game, and yes, I was not sad to lose against him because one of the best players I think of the world right now. I would say because he's first in Pixelborn ladder. Here, look at this. He has double points from second, and I have to be careful that I won't drop out the top 25. So we have to climb today a little bit, but that's later. I really like this deck. I first did not know why you play Hercules over Cinderella, but now I understand. Against the tough matchups like Sapphire Steel, you want to shift this because if you shift this, the only answer the blue deck has is Let It Go and Hades, and both cards are ramping me too. So this is a good chance of winning if you are able to. It's not that hard to shift this, and if you can shift this, he has absolutely no answers to it except Let It Go and Hades, and that ramps you too, and that's he does not want that. Also, he plays Tribencha for his tough matchup. All blue matchups are tough, and all blue decks are running very much items because of Hiram. And for that he tagged in the benchers. I think he won against one blue steel deck in the Swiss round, so very impressive. Yes, and you can talk about some numbers. You can one Cinderella, you can say why one, and if you would cut this and make a third Eric or something, it won't be another deck. But sometimes the Cinderella is great, and otherwise it's ink. I think this card was 95% ink, I would say. But yeah, and the songs, he really struggled with this card. He said this is trash, but I think two copies of that are good against mirror match Cinderellas, and it's ink when it's bad. So why don't? I think it's better than this paint the roses red, or what the name was. I know this card can replace itself, but I think two copies are good. As answer, you have absolutely no answer to an opposing Cinderella. No answer in this deck. Except the Hurted Beast or something. But this helps a lot. Yes. I really like Gastor as well. Gastor is a really good card. Why? There's no reason for me not to play this 4 times. No reason. It's a 3/3 body and has the Singer 5, and so it's such a good card. You could say it's a little bit low in the early game, but I really feel that. I really feel that, because you are good against aggro decks with all these cards, and Silsong almost never loses against aggro decks, and so why playing that much 1-drops? You don't need it. And Cinderella is too strong to not play it, the 1-drop Cinderella. But the rest, Stitch and Queen, nah. And the Shift Queen also, it's not that good in this deck, I think. So that's a very, very good list. And give it a try. If you want a good deck, give this deck a try. This is very strong list. And congrats, Seth, to top 4. And thanks again for splitting with me, because as you know, we were not allowed to split, of course. But I conceded because they wanted to play out the place the match about the match for place 3, and I wrote in the group I concede because I really had to go yesterday. And then Zev kindly asked, Otherbucks conceded, but is it in that matter possible that I can split with him? Because splitting is not allowed, what I really think is good. And they said yes, and so thanks for that. Again, yes. He's very kind also. Like him. Okay, and then we go to second place, which destroyed me in the semi-final. This deck won against me in the semi-final. This deck is crazy good. I see I can remove my standings. Because we don't need it anymore. So this deck is very, very good. I lost very close to it, and he was a little bit lucky, I must say, because he very in both games he got very good rolls out of Mufasa. In the second game, I Maui'd Mufasa, came another Mufasa. I ran in with my snake, and then it came Cusco. And my deck really struggles against Cusco because I don't run Tremaine, and Tremaine is the best answer to Cusco. And I don't run Tremaine, so yeah, I had to challenge it, and that gave him so much lore. Um, Genie is also a very good card in the current meta. There's so many targets for this card. The Emo Beast, if you're on the play, opponent plays Emo Beast, and turn 6, you give that Emo Beast to his hand. So good. It makes so much tempo on the board, this card. And this deck is really, 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 really fast. I was really struggling how to play against this deck because first game I knew I have to play the more control role because I can't race against this deck. I just can't. Even if I have Arthur the Fu combo or something, I can't race against this deck if I'm on the draw. And so I played the more. I traded everything, and it was really close. And then he top decked the Genie, and yeah, but it's okay. He has it's a really good deck in the current meta. Really good tech out for the current meta. Yeah, and second game I was on the play and I really struggled if I should drop turn 3 my Arthur because I have no experience in this matchup, and I had a LeFou, but I had no experience in this matchup, and I did really not know if I'm able to race against it. And I won really close the second game, and then third game he won again. If this game is on the play, boy, you have hard times. Turn 1, yeah, turn 1 is the 1 drops, but I turn 2 Flint Rider, turn 3 Dog, turn 4 Mufasa. It's so super fast. Oh, really, that's really hard. Um, and I think this deck really struggles against steel decks, must I say, because yeah, I think he would he wasn't facing that much Steel Song this way, because I think Steel Song is very favored in this matchup, but everything else, this deck crushes. Not crushes everything, but has good potential to win. Because it simply has a very good curve in all stages of the game. It has 4, 8, 16 evasives. 16 evasives. And you know what the weakness for red purple is? It's evasive cards. And this deck has 16. And Peter Pan is the same card as Fidget, which everyone plays as a tech card against Minnie Mouse. And this is also in there. And this pre-lore evasive, super fast. And Genie obviously. And this is really cool. I think we all know this from the first chapter. But the second effect, I really think he caught many players off guard with this effect, because you can give another character evasive. So if you have, I don't know, if he has Hades on the board, an opponent quests with Mini, and you have no evasives on board, the opponent thinks, okay, my Mini survives, I can easily quest with it. And then you drop Tinkerbell and you trade and you go with your Hades on the Mini. And that's very powerful move. And I really think he caught some players off guard with that. Because you never think, if opponent has no evasives on the board, they can deal with your Mini. And that's very cool about this card. We all know from chapter 1. So congrats became second in this large tournament. It's really impressive to make a completely. Yeah, it showed up a little bit in the last week or so, but in general, this is a new deck. No one has. This is not a really defined deck that many players was working on. So really impressive to pilot this deck to the finals. Really impressive. And then we have the winner, and I must say, I was really surprised. Uh, First of all, this is a very good player. Um, Obviously, if he won the tournament, and really congratulations. It's a French guy, I think, and he was really nice in the chat also, and thanked for everything uh, very often, and he was really nice. And it's a basic Ruby Amethyst list, I would say. Nothing too special, but yeah, he will be. He's obviously a really great player to become first. The only thing when I saw this list, what I really was surprised is he has 0 tech against Minnie Mouse, which is the most important thing I think in the mirror match. I got 6 mirror matches in the Swiss round, and I don't know how many he faced, but I don't know how you can win your mirrors without any tech. Because if the opponent is on the play, if you're on the draw, an opponent drops a mini on turn 3, I don't know how you can win this, but you obviously can. Otherwise, he would not win this tournament. Maybe I'm too afraid of the minis, but I think I got very much mirror matches. I got 6. That's a lot, I think. But yeah, against everything else, this is a very good list. I think very basic. There's nothing too special about it. Ursula over Elsa, I like. Yes, it's a really good control list. I really like that the Ursulas. If I would play Ruby Amethyst control, would I? Surely would never do in a big tournament because it's too brain fucking. I would consider to play even more. I think Jebas in the last tournament he played 4 Ursula and 2 Elsa, I think, if I remember it correct. And I feel that this is your end game. The deck is you come to turn 7 and then Ursula, Elsa, and opponent has to answer it, and you just finish him with this big cards. And the games that I lost, so we are finished here. Yeah, it's a very good list, and he's obviously a very good player. So really congratulations to you, Francis, if you hear that. And you're European, yeah. Really congrats to you. What I wanted to say at last, Cusco is very important because if you don't hit a 1-drop, that's very punishing because you can. In the previous list without Cusco, you did not have a turn 2, because you can only play Snake if you hit your 1-drop, and then you can't play something on turn 2. And against some decks, you have lost the game. Then, if you play against some aggressive deck and you miss the first 2 turns, good luck of winning that. Mostly not possible. So Cusco fits this spot. If you miss your 1-drop, then you can play Cusco, and it doesn't matter if its stats are bad because next turn you mostly want to bounce it or just sing with him Teeth and Ambitions or something. So I think Cusco is the right 2-drop in this meta right now. Oh, and lastly, we want to go back to my deck. I became 4th or 3rd, like you want to, and I'm really comfortable with my list. I really don't know if I would change a card. The crab was awesome in the whole tournament. I really can only say that crab is awesome, but especially in my list because I play Pascal, And with Pascal against these evasive decks, you can really make really good trades with Crab and Pascal. I don't know how many minis I put out with this combo. It's even better if you play Pascal turn 1, turn 3, even on the draw. Turn 3 he hits mini, then you play your mini, then he goes questing with his mini, and then you play Crab, but with your Pascal on his mini, and your mini goes questing, and that's was very often game. Because if you trade your own mini in that with Crab, then he can teeth mini out, and with 3 willpower, Ruby Amethyst is not able to remove this, especially except with these tech cards like Fidget or something. What can I say? What can I say else? There are some cards I did not see many play and was ink a lot, like Maleficent. Maleficent is your filler card. You don't want to play this on turn 3. Hey, in the mirror match, I had so many mirror matches. If my opponent played turn 3 Maleficent, I thought yes, that's very good, because if I play mini and they play Maleficent, that's such a tempo loss for them. This card is really garbage on turn 3. You don't want to play this on turn 3. Garbage. It's not garbage, but it's not. It's your emergency. If you have nothing else, then play Maleficent, and it's better in later stages of the game. After Be Prepared or something, this card is very good, because then this is a good Tremaine protection or something. Yeah, Arthur, LeFou, obviously they won me a lot of mirror matches. It's so crazy sometimes. They just can't deal with this. This is so great. And Arthur is not really bad in any matchup. Obviously, in the steel matchups, they can often remove him. But what can I say? It's a 3-cost, 3 willpower. If they can remove him, yeah, they could remove a mini also, because so this is not a real downside to this card. The only downside to this card, it's uninkable. But yeah, I really would like to would have that I had played more Isma. Also the 4th Isma. Isma was king the whole tournament, and I know some of you, if you see this, would say Tremaine is way better, and I think the most players say Tremaine is way better, and I think in the normal control list, control deck, Tremaine is better, but in this list, I think Isma is way better, really way better. This list is very fast, so in fast lists, it's very important to play a very low amount of uninkables, and we played 13, so it was 4 Be Prepared, 4, 8, 11, 13, and that's the most I would play. But what can I say? I can't cut a card of these. No? I don't want to cut a rabbit. I don't want to cut. I think 3 is the right amount of Arthurs. I don't want to cut a Be Prepared, and I don't want to cut a spellbook. So I could not go down with this. But and then I thought, okay, everything else must be incomplete. And simply the fact that this card is inkable makes it better than Tremaine for me. But I don't mind if you disagree. It's okay. Some would say Tremaine is better, and I can't say anything about it. Sometimes Tremaine would be better. In the semi-final, the opponent had a Cusco. If I had a Tremaine on this spot, yes, Tremaine would be better. But in the whole tournament, this card was king. For so many reasons. First, I would like to play 4, because because in the early game, if I draw this, draw this in the early game, I nearly always had to ink it, and then there are only two left, and I want one Isma in the game, so that was very hard sometimes that I had to ink one, and then I knew, there are only two left in this deck. But it's the most uses for Isma was the turn before turn 6, before Be Prepared. I shuffled, I refilled my hand because I could just shuffle one drop in or something, and I refilled my hand before I knew, okay, now the opponent wipes the board, and then I have a refreshed hand. And the next thing about the mirror match is I really tried to build this deck for the mirror match, and it obviously worked out because I had 6 mirror matches and I won all of that. In a mirror match, you have the 4 Be Prepared. This card is not for the mirror match. This card is absolutely garbage in the mirror match. I think, especially in my faster version, I think the player who plays this card first loses the game, because I always want the opponent to play this card. I always played it like this. I raised, I made a little draw, and then I overextend at some point. I overextend, so I knew, okay, the opponent just has to do this. And if I knew, okay, I have backup then after this board wipe, then I thought, okay, now I can overextend. So the opponent has to board wipe, and that's his whole turn. And then then it's my turn, and I can refill my board. Because the problem is with Be Prepared, it's obviously a good card, but I simply has my some Ruby Amethyst aggro players say don't play this card. I just play this card because I don't want to have an auto lose against Steel Song or against Blue Steel or something. Because simply adding this card 4 times makes you a decent matchups against so many decks. Blue Steel, Steel Song, even the discard deck. In the discard deck, this card is very good also. And if you don't include this, you just have no against Steel Song. Steel Song really crushes you, and this card is really garbage. And sometimes I sticked on 2 or 3 Be Prepared to the mirror match, and I never wanted to play them. And if you play even more high drop uninkable cards, like Tremaine is it's not a dead card, I know, but if you play, but some people ask me, why did you not play Ursula or Elsa or something? There are even more cards I can't ink in the early game, and I really want to keep up the pressure in the early game, of course, obviously. And so I ran a really low amount of uninkables. Yeah, that's the reason why. If you want to play more aggressive decks like me, I hated to play control decks because I hate the mirror matches. If I would play the Ruby Amethyst deck, and oh god, mirror match, no, because then it's in the end game, and Ursula, Elsa, that's so, I hate it, and so I thought I want to build a deck that's the game is over on turn 8 or something, in either way, no? Because of course, like every deck has issues, and if I'm not able to go on 10-12 lore till turn 7, and then he plays Ursula Elsa, of course I lose. That's clear. But that's not the goal of my deck. The goal of my deck is to become to 10-15 lore very fast, and then you all know what this deck can do when you are at 15 lore. You have your spellbooks, you have your goats. It's almost over. It's almost always over then to reach 15 lore. So this was the goal of the deck, and in the end game, this card disadvantage you get from this by shuffling an opposing Ursula or something in his deck does not matter, because it's just racing, and you just want to hit the Ursula with Isma, because what really punishes you is the if the opponent is able to sing Be Prepared, because I said the player who plays Be Prepared first loses most of the time. Is why? Is because you play Be Prepared, then it's opponent turn. He can develop a board, and you have to answer the developed board with an old Be Prepared or something, or but you cannot quest or something. You cannot win this game, because you always have to answer this, and that's why I think Be Prepared is not good for the mirror match. I always shuffle it in. I always mulligan it away, and I hope I don't draw this in the mirror match. I hope I don't draw it. Sometimes, some rare situation. If I have 2 spellbooks going, and I'm on turn 9, I'm happy to see it Be Prepared, but that's very rare. I really think if I see other deck lists of Ruby Amethyst, I really think, but that's my personal opinion, like all of the stuff. I really think the people are playing 2 less 1-drops. The 1-drops are underrated, because Olaf or something is a good play on turn 2 also, even especially with Pascal or something, and it's good in the end game. It's good Tremaine protection. It's good with Isma. It's good just if the opponent doesn't answer to quests simply. I think they're really underrated. And in the most decks, I would not, even in the control deck, I would not cut. I would not go under 8 1-drops. I think, because it's too important to hit it, and it's too important, and they are good cards in every stage of the game, and they all 1-drops are inkables. Yeah, I think this deck is very consistent, um, and you have very low chances to draw really bad, simply because the amount of uninkables are that low. Yeah. So what else can I say? Sometimes I would love to have a 4th LeFou. Sometimes I would love to have had a 4th Maui, but yeah. Sometimes you don't find space for it. You could consider to cut this Maleficent completely and add a 4th LeFou, a 4th Maui, or a 4th Teeth and Ambitions. But so it's more rounded. I think. I think it won't change that much. But that are things that I would consider. But I really think Isma is better than Tremaine in aggressive decks. That I really think. And Crab is on the rise. Crab is really on the rise, and I think Pascal is really on the rise too. But because this combo is really sick. If the evasive meta comes, this is really sick combo. And Pascal is a good card. Opponent has to answer it, and if Pascal get teeth on turn 2, okay, then I think okay, you wasted your turn 2. It's doesn't bother me at all. That's I'm totally fine with that. Yes. So it was, and now we can play Pixelborn again.